In my research throughout this compendium, I've come to find that assessment is valuable when learning and development occurs for both students, teachers, and parents or carers being aware and knowing about their child's development. The purpose of assessment should be to support and to assist learning and teaching. Tomlinson and Moon believe assessments are effective when they measure student proficiency on clearly designated learning goals that are known to students, and when they are carefully aligned with teaching and learning. Additionally, when assessing students, I do not believe that using numbers or letters to grade is the key to help students know their development, but rather feedback, discussion, and building upon the area that requires further development by creating new learning goals and supporting the students to engage in this. I believe students need to be just as involved in their learning as their teacher. When a student sees a number or a letter after assessment, it can be very discouraging, and they can think things such as, why am I not smart enough, or I didn't get as much as my friend, and that is not what assessment is about. Formative assessment gives us a good understanding of this. Education and training, the Education and Training Department explain assessment as assessment for learning and assessment as learning, so occurring when students reflect on and monitor their progress to inform their future learning, and when teachers use inferences and student progress to inform their teaching. Using formative assessment does not indicate that students are compared with one another by numbers or letters, put pressure on assessment upon students, but supports the teacher to develop lessons and units based on student development through the results. Through experience inside the classroom, I have witnessed summative assessments that involved a grading system. This was built upon competition and competitiveness inside the classroom. As Tomlinson and Moon also mention, when students are compared with one another, they come to believe the goal is competition rather than personal improvement. The focus of their own learning and development becomes pushed to the side. When this occurs, the teacher only looks at the grade itself. It becomes an issue as the student's development of learning becomes less important. A part of the purpose of assessment is that students should be able to see his or her own growth and development. When watching a TED Talks by Sal Khan, he speaks about teaching for mastery. He uses the example of teachers giving students a test. Then they are graded with a number or percent, then it's given back to the students. So somebody may see that they receive 75% or 90%. And then they've identified the gaps. So then the whole class will move on to the next subject, probably a more advanced subject that's going to build on those gaps. When using summative assessment, especially if it must be for grading, I believe that it should not only have the purpose of the grade or mark, which could be their reading age or math score, but look at where their gaps are, and rather than go on to the next topic and build on to the gaps at a harder level, go back and revisit those gaps. It could be algebra, or in Sal's example, exponents. Revisit them and master them at the level before moving forward. This gives the summative assessment further purpose than just a grade. I will finish this with a quote from Rashaan Richards, who says, "If learning is so complex, how is it possible to reduce all these magical things that happen to a simple number or letter?"